Hey guys, take a look at this Audi. Flew myself down here to Palm Springs, California to test drive the facelifted 2020 Audi S4, the B9 generation. And in this video, we're gonna go over the cool things that make this vehicle unique and talk about why you may wanna consider buying one over something like a Tesla Model 3 Performance, because the one you see here comes in at just under $63,000, which is about the same as what you can find a new Model 3 Performance for. So, are you better off going with good old dyno juice, or is it time to shift to electricity? That's what we're gonna find out today. Hey guys, welcome to the 2020 Audi S4, and with me is Sofyan Bey with
Redline Reviews. Thank you so much for having me, Tommy.
Absolutely, and today we are in Audi's newest sports sedan. Well, somewhat new. This is a refresh. And the big question I have for you is, would you rather take this old school sedan over your Model 3 Performance? That's what we're talking about today.
You put me in the spot for this. I mean, on this fun, curvy road, I might prefer to be in this, but in terms of a daily, you know, once you try an EV, it's really, you really notice it's the future, but there's still something about this that I love, and it starts with that exhaust.
Under the hood of the new S4 is a 3-liter turbocharged V6. That's right, Audi is still sticking true with the V6 configurations, while competition from BMW and Mercedes have evolved to more straight-six engines. Audi's sticking old school, or perhaps new school, depending on how old you go back. But this 3-liter V6 turbocharged engine makes 349 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. There's no manual option available anymore, just an automatic. And that's made through an 8-speed automatic, but only an 8-speed.
Correct, so it's just a converter, torque converter automatic. No dual clutch, no manual.
Now we gotta talk about the engine really quick.
Yes.
Because this turbocharged engine is in just about every Audi now, right?
It is.
I mean, the derivative.
Doesn't have the mild hybrid system. Though.
Right, but the 3-liter turbo is in the Q7, it's in the A6, A7 models.
Right, A8 even.
It's all over the place.
Right.
And it's replacing the supercharged units.
Mm-hmm.
And here's full throttle, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, and then red line about 6,500. Okay. It's got a pretty good growl, but it doesn't sing. You know, like some of the straight 6 engines from BMW, right? They'll just howl. This isn't like that.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. The engine in the M340i sings a lot more. It's a little louder. It feels like it has more pull. That has 382 horsepower. So the Audi's engine is no longer the top, because if you remember when this S4 V8 generation came out like a decade ago, that engine had 333 horsepower. It really punched above its weight. It was better than the engine in the Mercedes and the BMW.
Right.
And sadly, it seems that Audi hasn't caught up to them.
What this car gives you is a lot of kind of understated performance.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's what appeals to a lot of people for the S4, is that it's always been a really understated car. It doesn't look like it's trying too hard.
Now in the front, the S4 now has the grille from its big cousin, the RS model, and you can really tell that with these hexagons here in the center. Now for 2020, you can actually get an A4 with an S trim that will also have these hexagons, but the full-out S4 has these little chrome bits throughout the grille, and there's a lot of aluminum finishes across this vehicle that distinguish the S4 from a standard A4. And what I'm talking about, of course, are the mirror caps. Now Audi has been doing this for generations, but you can always tell an S4 from a standard A4. If the car has the aluminum mirror caps, you know for sure it's something special. Now this one also has a sports package. You can tell that based on the red brake calipers, that gives you adaptive dampers as well as a limited slip rear differential. You can always tell the sport package because of the red brake calipers, and it's a great deal. For $2,500, you actually get a lot of mechanical changes that improve this vehicle over the standard car. And you know, dynamically in my mind, this is leaps and bounds better than the Model 3. I mean, with the adaptive suspension, yeah, I think you can really dial this into exactly how you like it. I think it feels lighter, a little bit lighter on its feet, even though that has all its, you know, center of gravity way down low. This just feels a little bit more raw to me, a little bit less numb. But the thing is where you use the performance 90% of the time in the city,
there's that delay.
When the power and the torque hits, it's not as wild as the Model 3. And I should clarify, it's not as wild as our dual motor Model 3, let alone the performance.
Yeah, because the performance is like a second and a half faster than this.
I mean, it's good. That's 60, that's 70. It's not slow.
No, it's not slow.
But it's not gonna like, whoa, what's going on here? You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is the Tesla really has changed a lot of people's enthusiast perception on what we expect a sports sedan to do, because, you know, the instant torque, how fast it is off the line. Once you experience that, then you go back to a gas car. This is what we've always had for a while now. It's easy to get used to the new normal, because that's kind of when I look at the Model 3. It's like the new normal.
Well, also the 3 Series.
Yeah, I mean, right. Tesla did like 100 or almost 200,000 units, I think, last year, like just of the Model 3, or was it like 250,000?
Which is crazy.
So it proves that there is a market for for an electric sports sedan.
Alright, Sophia, so I was talking about how this car does not feel as quick as the Model 3, but you've assured me there is one instance in which it takes off like heck.
Launch control.
Launch control! So what do we do here? So drive select to dynamic.
So it's in dynamic now, it's in S mode, and then you just tap the stability off control once.
Alright, and then foot on brake, hard on brake, I assume.
And then build the revs up to like 3,500.
Okay, here we go.
Let the boost build.
Boost build and... Wowzer! That's so crazy.
Yeah, you definitely get the neck snapping acceleration you expect.
So when you have the chance to, you know, really build it out, first gear is just a monster.
Yeah, which is it's great how it is, because the car can feel like it has some turbo lag. Right. If you don't build up the boost.
So when you're just driving along now, like 40 miles an hour, floor it. It's pretty good, but it doesn't give you that tunnel vision like that an electric would. But the second you actually commit to building that boost, I mean, dude, through second gear, I think this would keep up with a Model 3.
The non-performance.
Non-performance, yeah.
I think so too, and that's what this car competes with. The problem is when you compare it to the non-performance, that car is 10 grand cheaper than this.
Well, so many Germans are going to simulated exhaust trim. The S4 still has real quad exhaust, and they sound pretty good. It's not quite as throaty as an RS model, of course, but it certainly sounds a heck of a lot better than the Tesla Model 3 Performance. Now, in terms of where this fits into the German car lineup, this would compete with vehicles like the BMW M340i and the C43 AMG. This is not a full-out competitor to the M3. Of course, if you are looking for something a little bit crazier, you can actually get the S5 now in a Sportback. So that also has 4 doors, but the S5 will have a sloping rear end versus a more traditional trunk on the Audi. Now, the cool thing about the S4 has always been its overall design is very sleeperish. It's very understated, very elegant, and for 2020, that is absolutely the case. These 19-inch wheels are a little bit flashy, but once again, not out of the ordinary. It's not a car you think would be a high performer until you really step on it. One thing that certainly is a little bit flashy is the interior, because take a look at these bright red seats. This is a thing you either love or absolutely hate on this new model. Of course, you have various trims and configurations for seats. Now, this one doesn't have ventilation, it does have seat heating. And look, it even has seat massage. This is a premium spec, but there's also higher end Prestiges that will give you ventilation. However, if you want ventilation, you have to forego the massage function. So it's one or the other. I will say the seats are very supportive and they're not too tight. So a lot of us Americans are larger, let's be real. And even for the largest individuals, I don't think you'll have an issue with the side bolsters intruding on your area, intruding on your space. Now let's take a look at this interior, because there have been some improvements for 2020. First of all, this screen, this has grown to well over 10 inches now, and you'll notice a little touch pad down here is gone. It's all touchscreen, which is really cool. Turn on the car and you can see the full digital cockpit. And let me turn it out of the sun, just so you have the best possible view of what's going on here. All right, so there's your cockpit. You can see it right there. It is fully digital and very customizable using this little view button here. You can see more of a tack focus view or more of a navigation view, but you can also scroll through a bunch of different settings, from radio to information to all the car vitals. I love the steering wheel, flat bottom steering wheel with little plastic paddles. The paddles are a little chintzy. I'd love to see more of a metal or an aluminum finish, but what are you gonna do? It is an automatic. And speaking of that, let's take a quick look at the Monroney and see what the final price on this example is. So 2020 S4 sedan, total price $62,840. You can see some of the options there. Daytona Gray is $595. The Magma Red interior is included, but we also have the premium package, navigation, driver assistance, and then the 19-speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system. I do like this carbon fiber inlay. I think it looks brilliant. It looks genuine. It's not some chintzy kind of add-on. It really is well incorporated into the inside of the car here. And the selector for the 8-speed automatic is actually located right down here in the middle. It maintains that perforated leather you'll find on the steering wheel and brings it over here to the shifter. Pull down for drive, forward for reverse, and then a button for park. Here's a quick look at the key. Nice little S badge there on the key, just so you know you have something special. And then of course, you've got your start button there. Now, funny thing that Audi has been doing for a long time is actually putting the volume knob here over toward the passenger side. And I am so much happier, speaking of volume and infotainment, now that they've gone away from the old school knob to control the infotainment. It's now all touchscreen and it works so much better. It is so much faster than the old systems. Okay, so other things you need to know: no panoramic sunroof in this one, just your small standard sunroof, and no heated steering wheel as well, which is kind of interesting. Overall, a nice interior. It's not quite as out there as the Model 3 with that huge screen in the center, but I think the materials are perhaps even higher quality. It all has a nice fit and finish with the Audi, you know, of course, logo there in the middle. And I love these little bolsters here on the side. So in the front, a lot of comfort, a lot of adjustability in the seats, just a great place to spend time and a great place to do some performance driving as well. Now the question is, Sofian, is this is the 4-door sedan, right? There's a 2-door version of this called the S5. And then there's a 4-door version of the 2-door version of the 4-door car.
That sounds really stupid too when you say that.
That's what it is, the S5 Sportsback.
Yes.
So would you get the more sedate, less expensive sedan, or the weirder Sportback?
I'd get the stupid sounding version, the Sportback, because I like the.
Wait, why is that the stupid sounding version?
Well, because it's like it's the 2-door or it's the 4-door version of the 2-door version
of the 4-door car.
Of the 4-door car.
That's correct.
So it sounds really stupid when you say it that way, but when you look at the car, it makes sense because it has a much sleeker appearance to it versus this. And Audi gave it the same changes for 2020. It's got the same interior, but instead of that small, 12.5 cubic foot trunk, you get like almost 20 cubic feet because it's a hatchback.
That's more expensive.
It is more expensive. It's about $2,500 more expensive, and I'd pay it all day long.
Would you really?
I would, because I think it's worth it. But then that's where we go into the problem where a fully loaded S5 Sportback is like $68,000.
You're getting up there.
It's expensive.
And then you're looking at M3 territory.
M3 is like
kidding.
80.
I'm living in 2004.
Yeah, you're living, you're living 10 years ago.
So coming into the rear, you're going to find it's pretty tight. I find I fit better in this car than the BMW 3 Series, like the 340i, but still not a tremendous amount of headroom. I'm about 6 feet 1 inch tall, still have headroom issues if I sit up straight, but a lot of legroom. This is my driving position at 6'2", and even automatic climate controls here in the rear, a couple of USBs. It's not a penalty box. It's definitely not a bad place to spend time if you're an adult. Definitely have these big seats blocking most of your view, the performance seats. However, even in the rear, you still get carbon fiber there on the door, and even on the seat bottoms and seat backs, you get a nice carbon fiber pattern with diamond stitching.
See, around town, I would rather be in the electric car.
Okay.
But out on this mountain road, listening to that engine sing, and I will agree that dynamically this car feels more buttoned down. Yeah. Buttoned down, sorted, like it has a chassis that feels like it was designed to go corner carving, versus the Tesla doesn't really feel that same way when you're on course. But that car will leave this for dead in the straights. And that's kind of where that car will catch up on the track as well.
As enthusiasts, I think we get excited about sports sedans still, right? Because they're interesting, and I am very excited about 350 horsepower and this cool V6 with that turbo whistle. But is the average, non-car guy or sort of car interested person gonna go for this nowadays? Because I feel like so many people buy sports cars based on numbers.
Yeah.
And what are the numbers 0 to 60 on this car?
So Audi says 4.4 seconds, and it'll reach a top speed of 155 miles an hour.
Right.
Great numbers.
And the thing is you step up to the RS models, you're into the low 4s or high 3s.
3.7, I think is what Audi says for the RS5.
Right. But in terms of price per 0 to 60, for $63,000, your Model 3 will do 3.2.
Correct.
Which is a hard buy for some people. Having said that, I think this is better screwed together than at least our Model 3. How about you?
I would say the interior feels more solid. Does it feel more luxurious? I'd say yes and no, just because like Audi doesn't do the most luxurious, the Mercedes does the most luxurious now. But I appreciate the different textures, the carbon fiber, the big screens this car has, and just like the overall feel of it. I think it feels really, really solid.
Overall, a great looking car. I think they've really improved it in the styling department. Still understated. One of the things they got rid of is it used to have this line that extended all the way across the side, the character line. Now they've separated it into two little sections. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of the new design of the S4, and head over to tflcar.com for the latest and greatest in new S4 reviews.